Hi, I'm Allison Kaplan, Director of Education at the National First Ladies Library in Canton, Ohio. Today, for our ABCs for the First Ladies, we're going to read a really cool board book called Courageous First Ladies Who Changed the World. And it's all about First Ladies. It's by Heidi Pullman and illustrated by Giovanna Medeiros. One thing that I wanted to mention about this book is it's great because it's a board book. So if you have a book like this at home and you have young kids, it's easy for them to pick it up and look at the pictures without hurting it. But it has a lot of words in it. So if you're reading this as a parent or caregiver, you might point to some of the people and say, what color is Martha Washington's dress? You might choose to only tell part of the story, one thing about Martha. So this book is cool because on one page it tells you what that First Lady's childhood was like, and the other page it tells you what that First Lady has done, what her cause has been, what her major accomplishment has been. So those sometimes are big concepts for little kids, but they pick up what's important to them. So we're going to read through the book together. And if it's something that you're interested in, you might pick it back up from the library or somewhere else and take a look at it with your child. Or you might choose to say, hey, this is the First Lady when I was a kid, or ask Grandma who was First Lady when they were a kid, or ask Grandpa who their very favorite First Lady was, and you might learn even more about First Ladies. So that's my tip for this book. So we're going to start at the very beginning with Martha Washington. She says, I have learned that the greater part of our misery or unhappiness is determined not by our circumstance, but by our disposition. Martha grew up working on a farm with 6 younger siblings. She learned that anything a boy could do, she could do too. During the Revolutionary War, Martha showed great courage. She came to winter camps, nursed sick soldiers, and brainstormed strategies. As the First Lady, Martha welcomed to her home anyone who wanted to discuss the new country. Abigail Adams, she says, remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Abigail's parents taught her to visit the sick, feed the hungry, and bring clothes to the cold. When Abigail married John Adams, she didn't know that one day she would be Mrs. President. Grateful for her big heart and smart mind, John regularly asked Abigail for ideas. She wanted women to have rights in their new country and taught her children to fight against slavery. And Abigail is very famous for writing letters to her husband, John. So here they are while he is writing. Dolly Madison, habit and hope are the crutches which support us through the vicissitudes of life. Dolly helped her mother run a boarding house to earn money. That's where she met James, who later became her husband and the President of the United States. Dolly loved discussing the needs of the country. What do you think about this? She'd ask. What should we do about that? She invited leaders to her home often and held the first inaugural ball. In 1812, when the White House was on fire, Dolly made sure that an important portrait of George Washington was safe. Eleanor Roosevelt, you must do the thing that you think you cannot do. Eleanor was just 9 years old when she became an orphan and went to live with her grandmother. It was a lonely childhood with lots of time to think, but she studied hard and learned about all kinds of ideas. In her time as First Lady, Eleanor fought for fair pay, equal rights, good living conditions, and better treatment for workers. Some people say she was the most important First Lady in history. Jacqueline Kennedy. There are many little ways to enlarge your child's world. Love of books is the best of all. Jackie always had a gift with language. Her essays and poems were published in newspapers, and she could speak English, French, Spanish, and Italian. While in the White House, Jackie helped her husband write inspiring speeches to rally the country. Her love of the arts brought opera, dance, Shakespeare, and even the Mona Lisa to the Capitol. The American people loved Jackie's sense of style and elegance. The other cool thing about Jackie is she helped make the White House a museum and cared for and preserved some important objects. Betty Ford. The search for human freedom can never be complete without freedom for women. So that's something Betty said. And when she was young, Betty often went with her mother to help children who couldn't walk on their own. She learned a lot about how people should be treated. When she became First Lady, Betty fought for equal pay for everyone. She created a place for people who struggled with addictions. She also opened up about her own struggles with cancer, letting the country know it was okay to have weakness. Lady Bird Johnson. Where flowers bloom, so does hope. Claudia's nanny once said she was as pretty as a ladybird. The nickname stuck. One of Lady Bird's favorite things to do was paddle on the lake near her home. Lady Bird's love of the outdoors only grew. As First Lady, she was committed to making the Capitol beautiful. She planted millions of flowers along the roads and made sure areas with natural beauty and wildlife were kept safe for everyone to enjoy. Laura and Barbara Bush. This is Barbara, and she says, never lose sight of the fact that the most important yardstick of your success will be how you treat other people. Barbara spent many evenings reading together with her family. Her love of books came with her all the way to the White House. As First Lady, Barbara wanted every child to know how to read. Barbara's son George later became president like his dad. George's wife Laura, pictured here in the red, followed Barbara's lead when she became First Lady. As a second grade teacher and school librarian, Laura knew that teaching children could change the world. Hillary Clinton. It is past time for women to take their rightful place side by side with men in the rooms where the fates of peoples, where their children's and grandchildren's fates are decided. Hillary once saw a group collecting money for the poor. She made a backyard carnival for neighborhood kids and donated all the dimes and nickels she earned. So that's something that she did as a child. And then as an adult, when she was First Lady, Hillary argued for change that would help women and children. She also became a state senator and Secretary of State. In 2016, Hillary came closer than any woman in history to becoming the President of the United States. Michelle Obama. This is something she said. There are still many causes worth sacrificing for, so much history yet to be made. Michelle did so well in school, she was able to skip a grade and graduate early. She loved learning and was accepted to one of the best universities in the world, Princeton. Michelle was a lawyer when her husband Barack became the first African American president in U.S. history. As First Lady, she focused on raising 2 daughters and helping our country get fit. She championed exercise and healthy eating and planted the first White House garden. So those are just a few of the First Ladies, and you can look up some more First Ladies and find out who the First Lady is today and ask your family who their favorite First Lady was and why they liked them. What did they accomplish? What was cool about them? So that's our ABCs with the First Ladies book for today. and we'll see you next time.